Now, you can call me delusional, disconnected, or anywhere in between that spectrum, but I'm the type of individual who genuinely believes that almost anybody can become wealthy. Now, I say almost because there are those who are clinically insane or, there's something going on psychologically that may hinder them from ever embarking upon any sort of straight and narrow path that's going to lead to an outcome that they desire, right? Like there are some people you look at and you think to yourself, that person is royally cooked in a multitude of ways. And I'm not even talking about those who are just simply disabled, right? There are multitudes of people who have been disabled, whether it's physical or even some psychological, that end up becoming wealthy. Now, there's this, I can only call it what it is. It's a communistic, neo-Marxist, socialistic sort of hatred that I am seeing in the Western world against wealth. Not just wealthy people, but the entire idea of becoming wealthy. Like there used to be a time where more people aspired towards creating wealth. Now, I'm not talking about bling bling for the sake of bling bling or driving in Rarries or whatever, unless that's the thing that you're into. I'm simply talking about creating financial abundance. This used to be something that we were so much more open to, and I feel like there's so much jadedness around it. There's so much skepticism. There's so much fear, which shows me that the propaganda machine is working. It's really doing its job, right? If you have become convinced that you becoming wealthy is a bad thing, you have this kind of dysfunctional relationship with money, the machine is working. And so I want to address this because I really was just thinking about some of these statements I hear. More specifically, the statements I hear about, what is the cause for my own personal place in life? Most of us, when we look at life, the easiest thing to do is to point to something external as to why we are where we are, right? Well, I am where I am because of my parents. I am where I am because of the government. I am where I am because of my employers or the lack thereof. I am where I am because of my spouse or the lack thereof, right? There's always something external that we can point a finger to. And again, it is easy. And in some cases, you can feel justified in that. But I've got to a place, when I stepped out of my own self-pity, is to say, well, how is that exactly helping me? Like, how does it help me to continue to just externalize the blame from one place to another, when in all of that, I don't get the thing that I actually desire out of life, right? My life started changing financially in a drastic way when I just took accountability and I said, you know what? The reason you're broke right now, bro, is because you're not doing the things necessary to actually become wealthy. Like first and foremost, do you even educate yourself on money? Do you even understand money? You understand all these other facets about your life, things that might be innocuous and not even matter that much. But yet when it comes to money, you haven't even studied. You haven't even come to a place of actually understanding, having a level of just basic financial literacy. Have you actually worked with your own belief systems when it comes to money? These were questions that I had to face once I got out of a place of, it's obviously the government's fault why I am where I am. It's obviously the system. The system is built to bring the low man down, and the low man can't get ahead, and he can't do nothing for himself, and he has to. That type of belief system was the thing that was holding me back, and in truth is holding most people back. Again, except for maybe a handful of excuses. And I mean a handful. I'm talking about maybe 5 complete excuses the entire known and unknown world. But even those excuses won't stop an individual who is set. Somebody who is going to win, somebody who is going to make something happen is just simply going to make it happen. There are people who've seen me go from 5 subscribers, 50, 500, 5,000, 30,000 now and counting, and they still want to look over at me and say, well, he's just lucky. Yeah, I guess I just lucked myself into multiples of hundreds of videos. I guess I lucked myself into, at least 3 videos every single day in the last few months. I guess that I just lucked my way into that, right? It's a mind-blowing sort of mentality. And this rant actually came from a very specific place because this also pisses me off. The fact that we are so economically illiterate. We don't understand basic economics. So you have this statement of the billionaires need to pay their fair share. And you'll even hear from these socialist, propagandists in the government, like Bernie Sanders. I know you might be a fan. I don't care. Be offended. That's between you and the donkey you rode in on, right? Elizabeth Warren. These types of individuals, surprise, surprise, happen to have multis of millions of dollars that they made through politics. And for me, I believe in a free market. I believe in free market capitalism. I don't believe in crony capitalism. I don't believe in crony politicians, because that's a lot of what's really going on with some of these folks, right? A Bernie Sanders who has millions of dollars to his name, even though he's never made over a certain threshold in his career, but he's nowhere close to an Elizabeth Warren, Nancy Pelosi, etc., right? They are the problem, not the guy who created the pillow pet or something like that, right? And becomes financially well off, financially successful because they created something that we trade for value. Somebody who created something we're using every single day. Oh, well, you know, the evil, rich billionaires. You talking about the people who made the shoes that you opted into buying? You know, again, it's a backwards mentality. It's a very socialist ideology, and it's rooted, a lot of it, in envy and jealousy. I know we don't like to talk about these things because, oh, you're encroaching on that little thing that's right here. You know, we're always told, don't talk about these things in life. Don't talk about what? Don't talk about politics. Don't talk about my religion. Don't talk about, what else they say? Don't talk about S3X, bedroom activities. And don't you talk about money, because you will offend somebody. Well, guess what? These are the most vital aspects of life, and we need to break them down. Somebody's got to say something. Now, getting back to what triggered me was this statement, this lie, this piece of misinformation that has traveled around since, I don't know, God knows, since maybe FDR's time, when, you know, it was like the anti-businessman era, when the government was pushing a lot of that propaganda in order to find somebody to blame for a lot of their own financial mishaps as the government. I'll say maybe it started then, or maybe before. But anyway, there's this belief and this idea that the rich don't pay their taxes. They need to pay their fair share of taxes. The rich need to pay their taxes. And I say, okay, first and foremost, I wish everybody got the opportunity at some point to just run a business, like a simple business, right? I've only known entrepreneurship throughout my life. My pops is an entrepreneur all his life. You know, I became an entrepreneur, I think, at the age, well, in earnestness, I became an entrepreneur much earlier, about 14, 15 years old. I was a street entrepreneur, and let's just say I diversified my my product SKU in a variety of different chemical compounds. I just put it that way. Whoever caught it. Okay. But when I became a legit business person was around the age of 22, got myself a little LLC, started myself a little digital marketing business. And that was the greatest education in economics ever, to understand that you are trading a service for value, and that value is communicated as money. The better the service is, or the better marketed the service, the more people know about the service and, you know, obviously want to trade the service for value, then that's how you get your money up. Before that, it was like, well, you make money by getting money, right? Most people have a perception of, well, the way I make money is somebody has to give me some money, or I have to work for somebody to give me, you know, a guaranteed paycheck. Most people don't actually have an experience of like creating something, building something, making something, and then selling that thing, or having a service or whatever it may be, and then trading that service for money. And the reason I say I wish everybody got this understanding is you would come to understand through business that the tax codes are in favor of those who create something, who build something, who employ, right? Literally. My auntie taught me this, and she's a business genius. This woman's touched over $100 million through the healthcare businesses, through like nursing homes and things of that nature. So her tax accountant essentially said the first few hundred pages of the tax code are what you need to pay to the government, and the next 4,000 pages are what you get back from the government if you do what the government wants you to do, or what they incentivize you to do in order for you to get your money back. So the first few hundred pages, okay, here's your money. The next few thousand, this is how you get your money back. And if we had, let's say, just a basic foundational understanding of the tax codes, we come to understand that you can run a business in a way where essentially the government is paying you to run that business. And the reason they would incentivize you to do so, a smart government would incentivize its populace to create businesses, to build infrastructure, to do something in the ecosystem, to hire, create jobs, is because it takes it away from them having to do it, right? That's really what that's about. Instead of them having to build a building, you build a building and they give you greater incentives to do exactly that. And so this thing about the taxes, first and foremost, is that being in a business platform, a position of having a business is the best place you can be advantageously or potentially with a business. If you don't know how these tax codes work or you don't take advantage of what is given to you, it's not loopholes necessarily, it's just the law. If you don't, then that's on you. If you do, better off for you, right? I'm sure even as a W-2, there are many of these sorts of kind of tax breaks that you're going to get if you take advantage of them. Now, that being said, I also want to bring it to the side of the taxes that are paid. 41% of our national taxes here in the United States, 41% are paid by the 1%. 41% of the taxes are paid off by 1% of the population. So the people have this sentiment of hating the rich, because we always talk about the rich as if it's like these, five guys, or they always show these images of the corrupt person who's stealing from people and taking and running the Ponzi schemes. I think it's almost intentional that that's the propaganda that's pushed, like that's a billionaire or a multimillionaire. The multimillionaires I've known throughout my life, and I lived in the Bay Area for a long time. So a lot of them obviously were in tech and things of that nature, but I knew parents who were owners of real estate companies, wineries, people who had random innocuous businesses like Pops Crates backpacks or something and became a multi-millionaire off of that brand and that business. Like some of the most random things, a Godfather who had a telecommunications company and built that into the billions. Like these are the things that I've gotten to witness firsthand and gotten an understanding to say, oh, so essentially, I want to say this before I get to before I run down this damn trail. More likely than not, if you're running a corrupt business, you will be found out. Corruption does not last. And that's the thing that's oftentimes missed, is to say there are people who run schemes. There are scammers. Those individuals, more likely than not, will get caught, even if it's not by the system, by the people doing business with them. The one leverage tool you have throughout your entire business career is your reputation. Your reputation is made or broken off of how you show up. Are you somebody to be trusted or not? Simple. And once that's gone, people do not want to work with you. There are certain individuals now who cannot get any type of genuine business because of how corrupt they were in their dealings. So again, I'm not saying that there isn't corruption happening. There's corruption happening in the hood as much as there is in the suburbs. You understand me? There's as many people being robbed in the white collar as there is in the blue collar. It's like, shitty people exist in all dimensions. But that myth, I guess I would put it, that myth has to be busted in most of our heads, because otherwise you have a subconscious belief that, well, if I'm going to become wealthy, I have to be a terrible person. And I don't want to be a terrible person. I used to hold that belief, at least at a subconscious level. Well, I mean, if I want to become wealthy, I got to become corrupt, and I'm not willing to corrupt my soul. I'm not willing to sell my soul. Not understanding that, no, all you have to do is create greater value for the marketplace. All you have to do is use the thing that you're best at and put that out into the world and trade that for value back. Simple as that. So back to the tax conversation, because this is the one, again, that really led to this entire stream of consciousness was, again, I'm well aware of statistics such as, okay, how much of the taxes is paid by 1% of the population, of the top 1%. And the top 1% is classified as somebody who makes $500,000 or up, right? It's not just your multi-billionaires, like your deca millionaires. It's also those 100,000-aires, etc. These people are paying 41% of the tax. And living in a place like California, I have seen how an environment can degenerate overnight when you disincentivize business people, from investing into those communities. Most business people's monies are invested into their businesses. Like people think of, let's say, an individual like Musk. Well, Musk is worth close to, $250 billion or $500 billion or whatever. Most of Musk's money is tied up in those businesses. It is invested and reinvested. Most of Bezos' money is tied up in those assets, right? This is not to say that they don't have that net worth, but the net worth is nothing more than assets combined. So it's everything they own and the value of all of that against their liabilities, which is the things that lose them money. So when you hear some of these, let's say rappers, these entertainers, etc., and you're hearing of their net worth, most of the time, oh, $100 million. This person has 100. They don't technically have 100 million cash. Maybe they have 20%, 10% in their own personal real estate, in their own homes. Maybe they have 10% in paintings or this and that. Maybe others in cars and they're depreciating, losing value. So their liabilities, like that's the full picture. You know, I'm not going to sit here and give an entire economics lesson, and I'm not going to say I am the expert. I've just gotten to a place where I've educated myself to say enough is enough. I'm going to stop making excuses for myself, because again, I've seen this mentality pervasive in this generation. I'm like, my God, this is not what made this place a great country. It was the innovation, the entrepreneurship, and times are just as good to create something now and even better than they were back in the day. Like imagine the days of a Carnegie or a damn Edison or Marconi or something like that. Like what the hell? In the shanty towns, you were building, you know, literally from nothing, from cobble, from rock. They created the industrial age. Today we have the digital space where you can lay in your bed. You know, shout out to TikTok. Hopefully it's still around when this video comes out. You can legit lay in your bed right now. I didn't know that was gonna be that hot. It was deceiving. This cup is cool, but the drink was hot. Lord save my tongue. You can lay in your bed right there, film yourself, and make money. I can't make this up. And I don't want to give exact numbers out, but let's just say the first 2 months that I started going in on a platform like TikTok, I made more money in those 2 months just applying myself, right? In those little short videos I was making, I made more money in that time than I had made in the last probably 8 to 12 months combined. Yeah. Just because I say, you know what, let's stop making excuses. Let's really do this thing. Like if we're going to really do it. And YouTube has essentially been around the same story. Essentially, right? There's more of this kind of healthy, steady growth, and there's been spikes and things of that nature. But when I applied myself, now imagine if I was sitting here, you know, blaming the world, blaming the system, blaming the man, blaming the rich man, even the government, even the, corrupt Biden administration. If I just continue to blame them for my life, I'm not waiting on them. I'm not waiting on them. Simple. Ooh, that's going to be my next video. That's going to be my next video right there. I'm about to film that after this one. I'm not waiting on Trump. I voted for Trump. I'm not waiting on him, because I am the one responsible to make of my life what I'm to make of my life. Simple. But we have to get over these limiting beliefs if we're going to really get to it, if we're truly going to get to it. So shout out to everybody not making excuses and having that ambition. You could be baking pies today at the house. Tomorrow you're selling them like Marie Callender. You understand? Almost every single one of these businesses. I love these stories like Dick's Sporting Goods, right? Get your mind out the gutter. Dick's Sporting Goods. That just started as a little store. A boy gets, fired from his job during hard economic times. This is like 1930s, 1940s, whatever it was. Comes home depressed. He says to his mom, I lost my job. And she said, well, how much would it cost you to start your own? He said, I don't know, maybe $300. Mama goes into her little cubby. She grabs $300. $300 was equivalent to a multi-thousand, a few thousand, maybe 3,000, whatever nowadays, guesstimation. Mama gives her savings to this boy because she believes in him. She's seen his work ethic. And the boy flips that into a multi-billion-dollar company. That's now generational in essence. So, again, it's like corny, these so-called corny statements, anything is possible if you set your mind to it. If you can see, you can achieve. All this shit is really true. It's really true. And we think it's corny when we don't apply it, but I've been a witness of it. Some folk who've seen the growth, they see me, in different places or whatever it is. It's simple. It's because I applied myself to my gifting. I finally devoted myself to my gifting, and I pray you do the same for yourself. I
Used to be afraid of the dark, a place unknown like a hardening heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. See you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light. You can see the life in him illuminate the night. I know the time is taking. A 3, 6, 5, that's a full rotation. I see you looking up, you know them constellations. Constantly gazing like house of praises, you get to praising. They see your light shine, that's why they so frustrated. Even the sofa in Nova Scotia will win the bagels. I couldn't get them ease on the grease, why they burning up? Money growing trees, feel a breeze, still you showing love. I can dig your energy. Even in the darks, I know you got that inner peace. You can fill a cup again, your limit is infinity. You manifest a life with all the fixings and amenities. This is more or less a house sitting. A sitting on a house like Snoopy. A teacher, no dog, new tricks, that's bliss. Cause there ain't no Charlie Browns in this vicinity. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the